Abusuafo ne ahwefo emu bi akɔba de ba Unidek TV so send the day I can already answer to me a subscribe button so no subscribe enough wa like na with me share no we comment was na betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe. Okay, Alhaji, wassalamu alaikum. Alhaji.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, boss.
Na empombo kodie.
Nyame dia chere ya ho e.
Oh, ye de nyame ase papa. We de yen say bre anopai ye frɛ wa president akɔ Savannah region and wo de atu dwa se ne finance minister any other ministries no en keka wo ho said ye be ya de ekoso ewo Israel any Iran for entem no ho shocks no enye kese emaye de na ekoso ewo ho a ne kwan ben so ne be affect yen economy in the country.
Well, I mention here for first of all, me nkase obi eko ewo no kroma our direct effect on us. But then the president what he seeks to say, and I said the person say Ghana is a global player among the community of nations of the world. And the world, you know, it thrives on basically economy no every country beyond oil. And I said fuel no and the biggest deal across the world. I think is the most first leading businesses and I said most first leading commodity the whole world needs at any given time. Unfortunately, in your country beyond we are here, oil nibi. And usually the countries of the world with more oil are almost supply the greater part. And I said the 8 billion people on earth, you know, very few countries. One of the biggest players in Iran. And this Iran is supply, then the contribution to the world oil market, you know. It's a problem. Or one, obedical freezy production of the oil. And two, or by reducing the supply as also a means also a bit feel very important. Well, Iran, the oil produces or use or talk about 85% of the oil. In this or Contocanas who decided not to send, and also diverting attention on a different sector, whereas the defense and the security in the year. Of course, the world markets, you know, of the oil, no, you always look at the happenings in any of the country or Kontoka. And it is a president in a or no come and as he said, say, it be a prudent analysis. Not time be a better oil be a mono. The next thing I bet to Mukuma, car prices, your friends say, trotro any car face. You have to face ma the next thing here duane you have to face ma obi a waton ade o market after the autumn in tade kra no o say ato petrol no so atum because car for atum until the president I think cleverly quoted said at any given time there's a shock of prices on the oil. That's we need any better approach to deal with the oil sector. It is commonly a possible say economy no we are about to hit an inflation, especially countries say oil no you tuning in adeko baku kura ni 1% kura ni you process it say a ton no kuma. But that is not the case of most of the other countries who produce oil. Omo ina produce ton, but Iran will produce ton, but we just be money chrome for. Nicaragua will produce ton, we just be money chrome for. Canada will produce, but we just be money chrome for. Countries who produce oil, Saudi Arabia, money, Iran, your friend is there, Qatar, Kuwait, and Emirates. Omu nyina produce oil now. Omu jabi mo chrome for. Omu timi turn at a very good rate. Name of young Africa, in mostly Nigeria, Angola, Ghana, Guinea Equatorial, and some other African countries are you to oil. You're turning na ko. ansa ne yɛne asa piska akɔ. The president who says Kobase oil boy din international marketer. Ya ho be che but maybe say Argentina instead no. Na president on so started say no. Yes your production no. Yen trust be process be near ton in case be pasa yen shocks but rather than all the time say price of oil cost na ihu boy. Why are we also not thinking about that? In this yeah, Omapani Kayano. Yes, Israel and one Arab nations kontokwa. And now was Iran elsewhere on kontokwa, which is a Persian. And let us not get it wrong. Say Iran on the Arab Middle East, on the Arab world, Iran only belong to the Persian Peninsula. And the peninsula for Wakoka Iran, which of course is not an Arab state, but it is seen, say, a pro-Islam country and as a pro-Islam nation. And the one would identify, say, Arabian, but open peninsula.
Do you see this ending anytime soon? Or we could say, then a coffers are we buy.
Okay. Our history. The history is very simple. On say Israel as a country, Israel open tokwa, and Israel as a country no. Israel your parties bia, omuba, di omudiye, ayen tokwa especially with the Arabs. And no more prime ministers and the it stay power for long. And to one, I'm not in doubt, and two, it is not of a surprise. But the reality of the matter is say. Israel war with the Arab countries in yes, our Israel, the first Arab country on the Egypt. The second country on the Jordan, a border, Egyptian border, Syria, a border, on no more. Now, I've heard said, almost 1967, exactly 58 years in the world. And yes, no. Or you should June. The same June, yeah, you will be 5th June to the 10th June. And a near friend, the Arab Israeli war. Or countries three a boom. She said, oh, yeah. A Arab Egypt, a Arab Jordan, and a Arab Syria. Or 6 days. Or said these three countries, aircraft, Mako 450. Abu young country. 450 aircraft packed on the airports of all these countries. And One Egypt, a war no 1973. One Egypt, so back and son of finally, Yebinya, the Oslo Accord. Oslo Accord, no. The U.S. president, near French Jimmy Carter, 78, or only the only American president. One country called the our agency. So, country as American president, the idea my betty friend streamers. Only the one decided to pay. Include me, Oslo Accord. Oslo Accord, no, and they solve Israel and Palestine. Yes, Israel, Egypt, in 1979. Almost started accord in 79 and almost peace treaty. That time, no, there Israel almost prime minister Menachem and Egypt also see your friend is there. I want Sadat and Jimmy Carter. Yes, peace. Israel say or started to part of Jordan. And you know Jordan. But let us not forget, say Jordan. King Hussein no a British. More or less, now the family, Omina British. King Hussein of Jordan, the Banuko always is Omina, you are British. And Canada, British for the American form, Omujini issue. Name in recent time, last year, 2024, which was exactly 48 years in Tibet raid. They can't Tibet raider. And no. Israeli, Palestine, Omuntokwa, Koba German phobia, na your friend Wilfred Boze, and a Kuhlman, and a Palestine phobia, Omko hijack Air France plane and Eko Paris omko see Uganda. Na zoba kaya sa Entebbe rating nipa 103 omtimi se wuye before the wuye no na eye the leading that Entebbe rating no shak your friends then Benjamin Netanyahu we are the brother and he was the only the commander head of the commandos no onunkwa no wuye until last year or celebrating or celebrating the brother no 48 years no and no they started Hamas out of the kidnap no say Hamas for kidnap Israelis so of course and then and I know kidnap kidnap but that was what or no this celebrity or call Uganda or buy now no best status and to call that another kidnap not take place that and or they are starting a concern. But let us not forget, sir, in the history of Israel, since David Ben-Gurion, Likud Party, Makai Party, any other parties, one Israel, Labour Party, Labour for no will be on Kontokwa. Labour for no, they don't fight. Yeah. They make peace. Is the Labour around Sharon, their friend Shimon Peres, Ishak Rabin, Omu peace na Omu ye. Na Omu ne your friends yes Arafat, any Rabin no. And no man the small boy 25-year-old Yigalamia, Nibuko Fuya, or say for signing to allow Palestine to be a country, near two-state solutions, you know. And a law student, Omutimiya boy near day, Okukum Rabin. Okum Rabin around Sharon your president Shimon Peres by a free Labour Party for Nina Obiaba on Kontoka. Name from after the death of Sharon. Osha Oma by Arian Sharon Sabi and say Omunina by no this state power. Now the history of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and the Prime Minister were about 3 times.
Yeah.
Shimon Peres.
That means the oil no because ansan no beba ne 30 mi kura no na ekrofo ejidi se the AC no ebesi ampa oba AC that means e be Israel for no so no money je ho.
It is neither here nor there. There are 2 things to look at Israel. And then Ishak Rabin, I was in the city that November 4, 1995. I was in Tel Aviv. I can ask you, baby, I was in Tel Aviv. This is what they do. Omono, Omusa, the size of Israel, and they say Ufri Accra, Eko Achide, what tells you Kakra, is only the north, the north near 250 kilometers, and at the west to east, actually 90 kilometers. So imagine such a small place. And he said, a compass and Tokwane Badia. Then all of them, because their security is at risk. Angel. And in a bunker, you need your MAPA party member, you need your Labour member, and you need your Likud party member, and you need their Yamina party member. And the one population is running, look at the population of Israel, Israelis in Israel. One population outside the world is 2 times, 3 times bigger, like the same thing like Palestine. They are bigger outside than Israel. And to my Roman say no. And Tokwa Akon, the world wars near Dadinema, Ukraine, if you free. And maybe I could America, be Italy, Italy, France, Switzerland, all over, Oko Argentina, Omugua, Brazil, baby. And to Omudonetiska, and the man who is the strong man. Omuketi. The atmosphere, who is the strongest? Debian Obe defending the land Israel. Yeah. Knowing very well, say the land near Kakrebi. Knowing very well, say they are surrounded by Arabs. Knowing very well, say that if Arabs coordinate together at Iran, can say Obe wipe Israel from the map of the Arabian Peninsula, and for that matter, the Middle East. And also for Mahmoud Green say, even though so Omon Peno. I said before, say Bibi Netanyahu back on the 3rd time, he was due to go to jail. He was due to go to jail. No case or corruption case. No, it was almost at the end. No, I said, Yadini Tum. But instead, I come back. and we are coalition. And we are coalition, the only way and you go through no yeah coalition government with the Likud party no. The next thing I saw and say and that's what started say obe create insecurity. And then in the history of Israel, any time when they don't change their prime minister. Majority are then say
sure.
Whenever they are fighting, they don't touch the prime minister. Whenever they are fighting, they don't go into elections. Whenever they are fighting, they don't touch any dial apart from concentrating to fight. And then is the catch. One day Hamas and talk when I start here, and then SS is now to Iran. Because Hamas is the only organization that Iran in a support to yes, and send Qatar and some of the Arabian Peninsula need be supported. But you must say, why not Hamas?
Yeah.
Hamas no Israel for any America for net Hamas.
Angel.
Israel any America for and Hamas in 1987. At that time no na PLO Arafat no wa form the PLO Palestinian Liberation of since 1964. But 1964 no na Israel any America for Hamas no say they should not allow Yasser Arafat to progress and make sure say Obeka Palestine for no good. Look at the interesting dynamics. In Palestinian APLU, Yasser Arafat and Ankasa, only Hamas for we see ever coin. Why Israelis were supporting Hamas? Why Americans were supporting Hamas? You would say, Omuto about it. Channels are a good assassination of Palestine.
Yeah.
Hamas won only then two tunnels. Everybody Israelis who say tunnels was here. Way back. Many channels, how many Iran for Kunyan, your friends say, Jordan Kunyan, no cricket tunnels. No. And the Hamas was supporting them to fight with the other Arab countries. But when the table turned around, even before the death of Yasser Arafat, Hamas were fighting. The country Palestine was even divided into two. Yes, Arafat, they expected, say, Ombe surrender, and Arab for China around there, Hamas for say, Palestinian authority, they want to be a leadership and have their country. And then when Israel for and talk about start here, kidnapping, killings, but the reality is that Israel or ne Hamas or Kondia, or seen say, on the Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Eko, or who say, or ne Iran and Eko. But Argentina, the country Qatar, how be as soon as Qatar or supporting these organizations, and I don't know how the Israel on Coco because Qatar to say American hood.
Okay. All right, Alaji, finally, my missa this na fe yemfinsi. Attacks na airco so ni na attacks na a free Israel airco no. Omo attack nuclear sites, omo attack scientists, military leaders. Special reason be ohontia Emma sa installments and omo attack.
Okay, this is not the first time. In 1988, 1988, 89, 90. Now Libya, or the same nuclear project, our Misrata, or we are underground, and of course, nuclear sites in Iran will be underground. Abroad, Israel will be, America will be, France will be, UK will be, America, our India. Are you getting me? Israel, for India, Palestine, Libya, India, way back. Now Iran starting the program. Or you do 84%, or you do first one, or do almost about 75%. Underground basement, Adiachiano, ne Israelis are best shit. Abra any military fight, be only Libya for any military fight there. Only to be by underground best shit, at Israeli flag in Sea 89, 1991, the same thing, Obashe, Gaddafi give you. And I know the Gaddafi, Obufu, Egypt said. Now almost smuggle Israelis, Alpha Egypt, and because maybe our Musrata and Egypt were born than Nebenti, they were using Egyptian Arabs, I don't know, Juma or Libyan site anymore, and a Liberian stadium. Now, I don't know what targeted scientists, Iranian scientists, a nuclear scientists, build the project. And when you say, baby, a man, a drone, Iranian scientists in now. The America. Nuclear science in America. And Russia. And do technology enhancement advancement in the account. And be a top class nuclear scientist. Until they know say they're in that country. Now Osha, the head of Revolutionary Guard, are only the top security commander of the nation Iran, Republic of Iran. Shamabia on that. Never apartment, typical crash here, or military commanders, Shakwai Fafwa, within a matter, says call Iran airspace. It is not an easy joke because it's the size of army, no, say the population, say, and in equipment, you know. Of course, initially America fought to him, but then Trump are contradicting himself. He had the knowledge of it, but they didn't support. What does it mean? Meaning that Israel, all the times America, or Caribbean America, when it becomes bigger, they don't have that kind of the army, even the troops, America. Yeah. And if force Israel, that directly, indirectly, no, because they are a unilateral decision. The United Nations, Israel does not respect UN. Israel does not respect the European Union. Neither do they respect any organization in the world. But flamboyantly, they are also a member of the UN. But the in India, Israel, UN for so even one would ask, what is even the essence of the UN? Because UN or countries are. So Ghana and acquire Saudi we are and sanctions. But look at Nyama Israel fire. The higher sanction are other European countries because of their Israel or the diplomatic sanctions or is it arms. But which European country no produce weapons in Israel? Holland no, Germany no, Italy no, Turkey no, Czech Republic. These are countries who produce weapons. You find a supply Israel. And the idea won't supply no. And they say Waka say me my body and a bunch and call the north. Who cares? Because the beer for phone you even though it's the other way around, they like for phone. But who cares? And the same thing. And the Israelis also said the other country to say Israel, Iran. The sanctions, America funding the other part of European countries, the Ama woman for the tapas Trump time. Sanctions don't be more permanent. 20 Maumubi, Ubia Maumubi. And then in Israel, the oil. Or the about 6 months, more than 60,000 Palestinians and hospitals, everything. Now will be entering sanction. Only Lebanon, only Hamas for Kunyumuye. While there was a peace, it was in process. Our more discussed ceasefire and what you see, Southern Lebanon. Like your Koyaho, Lokope Hezbollah, Nazokope Hezbollah or Border. As now Tlako Krum. About 50 kilometers inside, deep inside Lebanon, after this Roman infrastructure in her. And then once Musa Assad was a problem. So Assad called Janin Wakoa. She said the regime of Israel, where we were Syria, the Golan Heights not already not a year height in a problem was already deep inside Syria and destroyed Damascus. And it is just only said, were you Egypt film and were you Jordan film? But then the countries are Lebanon, Syria, and what the Iran are becoming. And nobody seems to, because the destruction are all here. So, any of the nuclear. Already, we say, Oma building, they are only about 15% to complete. It means that there's a nuclear reactor, there's a nuclear reactions that could take a place. And it says, see, now what's starting destroy reactors. So, one a war bunker very deep, fortified. Israel for the weapon. One weapon cannot go into that side. But when go use here on this end, ICBM, of course, our surface, and they were able to destroy it. They almost are fortified underground. What time there will be a nuclear.
Okay.
If there's a nuclear eruption, everything affects other part of the world, and even the same Israeli population. How long nobody needs mass? Oxygen, which should move. I go to bunker. The captain said, Israeli, the world needs peace, but what Israel is doing, it is a bit outrageous.
Okay, so question you say, and anytime soon. Now, one bit to me, because now you are saying because of say Israel for whom you say the highest power US direction, it will offer United Nations here. So it one bit to me, and stop this war.
You can go on peace table, on peace treaty, on signing this, signing that, it will not end anywhere. What you should be looking out for, and that's what we should be doing. Iran, as some of us and some of you and most people have thought, say, the strength of Iran military, and then it has taken everybody of the world by surprise. Iran to lose a guide. Israel Timaba, the airspace. Certainly, they have spoken. The Iranian government, the king, they are also in there. Israel will pay for the price. Of course, and your first time I had to such speech is living. But what I said, Iran can go for toe-to-toe confrontation with Israel. That is where Americans will draw into the picture. And what I think said the strategy is that Iran makes an attempt. So Americans don't say involved, but when Iran takes arms, so of Israel, they will come. What does it mean? So indirectly, Americans Israeli against Iran. And in Tokano, Iran for now America and Israel will end up destroying Iran.
Okay, but would you say development by Donald Trump didn't know about talking about say and can Israel for person or more assassinate leader Ayatollah Ali and Donald Trump be and yes so you think anything Maumun says because leader no person assassinating it there, then it will be very difficult to resolve this issue.
It's one thing that you should not forget, sir. Israel, anytime any country be a fighting, the leader not targeting. Shawani Hamas, they were almost to conclude the issue of this impasse. And Okokum, Hamas leader, or the same Iran, they were discussing with Hezbollah and Okokum Hezbollah leader. So of course, Sir Opaka say Okum, Iran, Omo, make fine say Obit the Americans as a Ghana, Bakans as Sabi, Ebia. Atlantic Kingdom, because the Iranian kingdom or Nihini, and it's also become the head and the chief and the king of that country there. Then it is a declaration of a very serious crisis to come. But for me, Americans, of course, they will play around it. Now, all what they are seeking to do, and he said, Israel, so many America, almost so what Iranians are only pro-Americans, are against the Iranian maybe communist system. And all the time, that is what takes place. They said, Afghanistan, they try to install a government that will be in bed with them. And that is what 1C said. If they will target to kill, so only Dana, it only just suggests they have persons and individuals trained by the Americans, by the Israelis, anti also Iranian government, and now pro-Iranian, and it's always has been the case. The same case like Iraq, the same thing. Because you don't know where Americans support and where Israel would support. You share Iran, any Iraq war. Then America supported Saddam Hussein, any Iran, nowhere they turn against. It's always what they begin and what you want, what you give up. And a very critical and delicate issue in the Middle East, any Israel and America issue. That's when did someone in our normal bra. That is Israel for you, no majai.
Okay.
So it's a Lebanon, or Bubu pray, was say the only place I want was Okra hit the leader. And will die. Now the same thing was started in Syria or destroyed. And only doesn't come into the world of news and world picture. But every day, serious bombardment over Israel, over Syria. What for? Syria is also a serious producer of oil. And they all do that also for instance, a business. And they all do that for political sake. Bibi Netanyahu's future. Because he's not prepared to leave Israel. Because so Bibi Netanyahu free Israel as a prime minister. He has a lot of issues and a lot of cases. And you might be very, very, very also tried somewhere. And only some of the things Sophie said, Then we move in, we march on, and let's do. And whereas the world concentration in our Bibi Netanyahu when Israel so is also taking advantage of staying in power for long. It's politics.
Also, omo ambe komo bra no mo jai. Finally, ansa no beja yen so de na ebetimi aye no ha sei. Said e be ya wadi ka ma yehu the effect ebetimi de aba oil semini ade na de na ususu se sabre ye yenye the finance minister ne economic managers no then yenye said e be ya yenya hu nsunsu aso kese.
Papa, yeah, we call it obey the wind. Yeah, they are no better. But the reality is that you have 2 world market, world oil prices. There is nothing that you can do.
Yeah.
Politics, you can instruct your managers, your ministers of the economy, managers of the economy. And then we'll be to my say oil, I got 1 barrel, now $150, say BBL do dana. Who did then have it man stop on? It is also economic shock, sir. It has to come with a certain practices. Their practice is saying we don't create wealth. The country Ghana has never, and we do not create wealth. It's wealth of income. Wealth of income, gold, and yaudia, and then you try to gold, you bring gold in yaudia, 10% of your gold, and look about Hokra, you can account for it. And it is high time. Since the government of Ghana do not rely on the economies of other parts of the world because you will be paying. The China, Wuhan, and the COVID buyer, no country no the COVID buyer, they've never seen wealth bigger than the time that the country, the whole world economy, across it. Look at post-COVID. China very stronger economically more than it was before. Countries be sika under the COVID, whereas other countries have crashed down. Sorry. So we are saying that, yes, the talk is there, Mr. President Bingo, thank you. But what are we doing? Now there is a new government, there is a new wave, there is a new spirit, there is no new decision. And then you moisturize our economy and economic system. So agree can you to only one thing that is cocoa. Cocoa saying you do. And then blame the bit my export. And it's a near my would the and I would do more wealth with the income over. You don't care about the Israeli-Arab war. You don't care about Russia-Ukraine war. Sabinanado, Evocan UN General Assembly said, any bomb that hit on target on Ukrainian soil affects the pocket of an ordinary Ghanaian. I was so ashamed. And it was so distasteful. Say, president of an African country, who resources, who will be here, who will be now, Koka, say, we now they share for applause. And I am more in but unfortunately, that statement, no world government, because they were all sitting there looking at him because he was playing the pro-Ukrainian cards. It never worked because they themselves, the Europeans, the Germans, the Swiss, the Hollands, Belgium, any Hungary, Czech Republic, Ukraine, in the war, in the middle of the war, me a member of NATO, still Russia oil. Man sanctions, but they buy Russia's oil. In the South of Ghana, now say any bomb that hit on target in Iranian soil affected the oil of Ghanaian pocket. Because you have been lazy as a government, and I don't expect. Say this government, His Excellency President Mama, also be toned down. I'm here say Iran-Israeli war, and I'm a Ghana. We don't want to hear that. Israel is not Ghana, neither Iran is Ghana. And Israel doesn't have any direct or any developing partner. Bilateral sometimes, and I say was some few grants or Mudimani new Omuhium. Omunya country Ghana, neither in Iran or Ghana will be BMO. And this home you look, how does it affect you? Affects you, you are talking about oil, but indirectly we are not talking about the oil. We should say oil no and the price never hypo in the affecting. Is that how we have to always rule, manage and administer economy? The answer is no. We don't want any kind of excuses from any of our leaders, and for that matter, current president. Now do you see COVID? I'm a Ghana COVID. They didn't do anything. To some extent, it's the same thing that the government should not also find excuse. Because Omka said, let Akufo-Addo, it's not COVID. If it is not COVID, then it's not Israel Palestine war, Israel Syria war, Israel Lebanon war, not Israel Iranian war. We should be able to find a case to moisturize our economy.
But President John Dramani Mahama can say the question no be affect you, so on also admit says war na question no be may shock e wa ha say.
It should not affect us in any way if you have a problem because Belgium Mecca say Israeli war be affected. Omukra omni Israel very close. Germany Mecca say Israeli Iran war be affected. Holland Mecca say Israeli war be affected. What about the countries in the region? Egypt is so say. What about the countries airspace bimu across? Jordan is caught in the middle between Jordan and then Iran and Israel. They are right in the middle. They are flying drones all over their overhead. What is that Jordan? America say Israeli Iran war. Ever affecting Anna. And look at our distance. We're talking about more than 5,000 miles away. And then we do not. Okay. Me, I don't subscribe that one as an excuse for any leader in our country because Israel and Palestine, Israel and Iran, Ghana body I say.
Angel.
I affect about here. I affecting your tomatoes, mangoes are affecting. And then affecting. We can only talk about one thing: oil. Israel on top Ghana, your friend is saying on top your cocoa, your cocoa, my Israel. On Okoto cocoa at the end of the world market. Yanton cocoa Emma Iran. And Yanton gold Emma Israel as a country. And Yanton gold Emma Iran as a country. And Yanton bauxite and diamond Emma these countries. Yanton ye timber ma these two countries. Omnia commercial trading partners. And you say your mobile and as a bear affecting. You're only talking in the global sense. Okay, oil prices go up. Oil prices go up. It has to do with also Nyama also de ko Usubenyeska now subsidize our country not as Zonyabi. And your woman can affect the whole world. Prices in the affected. But countries are living comfortably. Switzerland on the cano.
Okay. Alaji, ma ya no ase papa se oni abo enkomo nyankopon kan ho de besi be besa abane no abebo mu nkomo bi. Alaji Farouk Wahad, or a historian, expert in international relations and world politics and governance, and I know Aquacobo and community. Is it the MJ just say you mim kakra because we munomo I just one brands and no moja. Did say?
I wish you for national for it will be accompanied by Unidek TV so send that the ID can already answer to me a subscribe button so don't subscribe enough for like it now with me I send with your comment to us and to
It's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.